Everyone thinks they understand the World Cup until 2026 shows up and quietly changes the entire system. And here's the problem. On paper, it's still football's biggest tournament, but in practice, the structure is completely different. New teams, new groups, new qualification logic, even the knockout path behaves differently. And if you think it's just 32 teams but more, you're already wrong, because in the next few minutes, you're going to understand the 2026 World Cup format in a way most casual fans still don't. And the weird part, it actually looks simple until it isn't. Let's break it down. First, the big headline change. The 2026 World Cup expands to 48 teams. That sounds exciting, right? More countries, more matches, more chaos. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just adding 16 more teams. It completely rewrites how the tournament is built from the ground up. In theory, more teams means more fairness. In practice, it means more complicated groups, more qualification scenarios, and a knockout stage that feels slightly different from what you're used to. You know the type, where one extra rule suddenly decides everything. Second, the new group system. Instead of 32 teams in 8 groups, we now get 48 teams in 12 groups. Each group still has teams playing each other, but now there's a twist. Fewer groups per knockout slot. And immediately people start asking, wait, how do you even qualify from that? Good question, because this is where most confusion begins. Third, the top 2 system is gone. Kind of. Traditionally, it was simple. Top 2 teams go through. Done. Now it's still top 2, but there's an extra layer. Some of the best third-place team can also advance. And this is where things get messy, because suddenly teams aren't just competing in their group, they're competing against other groups too. Same ranking, different groups, different opponents. This sounds simple. It isn't. Fourth, the best third place problem. This is the rule that breaks people's brains every time. Imagine finishing third in your group, but still qualifying. Now imagine 2 third-placed teams from different groups. One had easy opponents. One had a nightmare group, but both are being compared directly. So now you're not just watching football, you're watching cross-group math. Here's where it gets interesting. One goal difference can literally change your entire World Cup survival. No pressure. Fifth, more teams means more knockout pressure. People assume more teams equals easier tournament. Wrong, because while more teams enter, the knockout stage still filters down to one winner. So the early rounds become more chaotic, not less. More big teams versus unknown teams matches. More surprise results. More moments where a team you've never heard of suddenly knocks out a giant. And honestly, that's kind of the magic of this format, but also the nightmare for analysts trying to predict anything. Sixth, why travel and hosting matters now. This World Cup is hosted across 3 countries. That means teams aren't just thinking about opponents, they're thinking about flights, climates, and travel recovery. In theory, it's a global celebration. In practice, it's a logistics puzzle. One team might play in one country, then suddenly fly hundreds of miles for the next match. And yes, that affects performance more than people admit. Seventh, the hidden impact nobody talks about. The format doesn't just change structure, it changes strategy. Teams will play differently because even a draw can matter differently depending on other groups. Coaches will literally track matches they are not playing in. Fans will suddenly care about games involving completely unrelated countries, and the tournament becomes less about one match and more about the entire system running at once. That's the real shift. Now let's bring it back. At the start, I said the 2026 World Cup looks simple until it isn't, and now you see why. It's not just bigger, it's a completely redesigned competition where groups, rankings, and third-place rules all interact in ways most casual viewers won't notice at first. But once you understand it, you can't unsee it. Every match suddenly has hidden consequences. Every goal matters in more than one place, and every group table tells a bigger story than it looks like. So the real question is this: are we getting a better World Cup or just a more complicated one? Either way, 2026 is going to feel very different. If you want more simple breakdowns like this, subscribe, because next time we're explaining something even more confusing than this.